Hey, Jeff here. Okay, so Darcy Six Strings Nine Lives is running a little chosen few thread contest, um, where if you haven't heard, I'll link the video below. You can see all of his details. But basically, this scenario is if you can only pick 10 of your albums out of your whole collection, what would they be? So it's sort of kind of like trying to do a top 10. Basically, if the world was ending and you had to grab 10, or trapped on a desert island, as chosen 10, things along that line. As you mentioned, it's very hard, and yes, it is. Um, when you have thousands of CDs and vinyls and all that combined, it really makes it hard. So I had to set some guidelines and limits on myself as far as what I was looking at. A couple things I liked about my choices and my and the contest in general is a these are my likes as of today. These are things that I would probably grab today. B, maybe I'm not telling the truth. C, nobody's gonna come knocking on my door and make this the permanent decision right now. So I always got that option to change. And and D, I could change my mind tomorrow. Anyway, so let's just take a look. I just looked through most of the vinyl, kind of racked my brains thinking what were some of the albums I could think of that I don't have on vinyl, maybe that are not in the house CD wise. Um, but I decided to stick to what I had here in my available grasp, because there's hundreds and hundreds of CDs out in the shed. And anyway, like I said, it could change from time to time. These are just albums that, as I'm looking through all this collection, these are the albums that I would say, I would definitely want to have that to listen to again and again and again. So they're not in any major particular order. I've got a couple CDs and a couple vinyls. The order I put the vinyls in basically were older to newer, as far as my memory and just my thoughts on it. So I'm going to start off with one which, of course, Darcy Six Strings Nine Lives would like, and that's Helix. He chose Walking the Razor's Edge. I go with No Rest for the Wicked. The main reason is because this was the first album by Helix I got. This was the one that was the introduction. This is the one I just played to death. I love all their stuff. This is the one that is very nostalgic to me, and so I chose this one because it's still got great songs on it. This was just the one that broke them for me. So Helix, have to have some of that. There's a lot of 80s stuff on mine. I could have went with a lot of different 80s type metal stuff because that is really where I cut my teeth on music. But I tried to throw in a little different here. Metallica, Kill 'Em All. Now I saw he chose Ride the Lightning. Everybody has their favorite Metallica albums. Again, this was the one I cut my teeth on. I remember buying this. I remember listening to this. I remember being blown away by this. I had heard them on Metal Massacre 1. I saw the album in the store. I grabbed it. And this is the one that's still, it's raw and energetic. And the songs, I can air drum and everything. It's just like I know the songs backwards and forwards. Good thing or bad thing, he was saying, some songs you have in your mind already permanently engraved you may not want to take. But when it comes to Metallica, this is the one that I tend to go back for just because the songs have more nostalgic to me, I guess, but also I just love them. I just love all the songs on this album. Ride the Lightning, same thing. It'd be tough, but it would probably come down between this and Ride the Lightning just because those were the two that I really just ate up so much back in the day. That's the one for today, though. Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. Now, this was tough because I really wanted to go with the first album, Too Fast for Love. That, to me, again, the one that I cut my teeth on, the one that it's a little on the quirky side, poppier side. This is more where they found their sound, very, tight, concise, metal sound of that day. So I went ahead and went with this, only because there are so many more favorite tracks on here. And the first one I played to death, I played this one just as much to death. And so those two are really the key ones for me. And so I went ahead and went with this one. Plus, anytime I've been in a band and we played a song, it tends to be from this. And so, I'm just more familiar with it. And so these songs are very much more something I listen to a lot more. Now, this is one of the Christian metal bands from back in the day. This was released in '87. This is Leviticus. You may have heard them. Some other people have mentioned them on the VC that listen to the Christian music. First couple albums had a singer with a lower range voice. Third album got a new singer, a new bass player, really a change in sound. It was brightened up the music. I love the first two albums. This album is really where, musically and just everything changed, and it was a very, very amazing change, and the band just really shone through with their talent on this. Amazing bass playing, the vocals are great. The vocalist and bass player after this one album with them left. I think it had to do with the fact that they're from Sweden, but two of the guys are from way over there, and two of the guys are from way over there, and it made it hard to get together. So the two guys, the bass player and the singer, broke off after this album and went and formed the band Jet Circus, and they released like 1.5, 2 albums or so. One released, and then there was another one recorded. I've got a lot of tracks from. Anyway, so great album. Highlight of the year of '87, and just amazing stuff. 1991 saw a radical change of Striper. They dropped the yellow and black. They dropped on the blue and black stripes. They got a little more rougher, got a little more angrier, tried to drop the whole squeaky clean religious look, and broke up after this. Still one of my favorite albums. Still one of the albums that the band doesn't really favor that much anymore, because it really, when I asked Michael about it in an interview, I don't know, a year or so ago, he said, this was where they took all those years to build up the Striper sound and image, to make Striper what it was, and then they just basically smashed it all here. So he kind of was like, when you take something that really brought you where you were, and then you throw it away like that, he said it's just, for him, it had kind of bad feelings, because he's like, we really did something we shouldn't have done. But most fans like this album for different reasons, and it's catchy. I like I like the songs, the choruses. It just was a good album. I just thought it was a really good, solid, hard rocking album. It did drop a little too clean of a squeaky, squealy image, and then we jump to to the current day. I have to bring in Neil Morse. I could have picked any Neil Morse. It's really tough. I went with this one for a couple reasons. It's a double album. Is that cheating? But it's just what currently is one of my favorites. Not sure, he has a new album that just came out. I didn't choose that only because this one I've had a lot longer to digest, and really, 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 it's still really one of those ones that I just really adore. The new one I like, and I am adoring it, but this one, for now, is probably the high. I wanted to go with the first album. I wanted to go with a couple albums, but I went with that one. Choice is made. All right. I am absolutely one of the biggest Dream Theater fans. So many albums to choose from. What do you do? Again, I cheated, chose a double album, but I do really, really, really enjoy this album. It was a toss-up between this and another one, but I went with this one because it was a double album, and and it's just still one of the ones I reach for. One of the two that I reach for. So I, like I say, could have chosen any. There's so many other Dream Theater ones, but this one stands out still as one of my best. I'm also a huge Kiss fan. Could have went with a lot of different things. There's so many things you could choose. I went with Kiss Alive 2 only because I didn't have a live album, first off. Second reason, it is a double album. And it's kind of like a compilation because it's got all the greatest songs from the 70s up to this point on it. There's so many different eras of Kiss. You got the 70s stuff, and then you got the 80s stuff, and then you got the 80s non-makeup stuff, and then when you change members of the band later on, there's so many different changes. I really want to go with Lick It Up. That was a good one. Because that was a pivotal time. Take off the makeup. Creatures of the Night, probably still one of my favorite albums. I went with this only because I love classic Kiss, and this has a lot of it on it. So this is a good choice. A band that I don't know how many people know out there, but the first Galactic Cowboys album, Texas band, Beatlesque type vocals overlaid with some heavy riffing music with lots of time type changes and quirkiness to them. I have all their stuff, love all their stuff. I've shown they were quiet for quite a few years, and as a lot of bands do, they get together and record an album. So they recorded a new album, year and a half, 2 years ago. Love it. Love all their stuff, but the first album still is the one that just speaks the most to me. That's a pun because the song on here goes "Speak to Me." Just hooks. And this is the album when it came out. I played it to death again. One of those ones that sticks in my mind. They were along the same lines in the King's X camp. Was a big King's X fan. They're produced by them, same label and all that stuff. Kind of went through that whole thing for a while. and their first and second albums still to me are just top notch. So Galactic Cowboys. And then last I was looking through it, I saw this and I thought, you know what, this is an album I listen to all the time still whenever I get a chance. This album touches me. It makes me cry at times. And you may not be familiar with the band called the Lost Dogs. Scenic Roots, their first album from '92. What it was is it's 4 artists from 4 different Christian pop type bands. Now, I remember going to the Christian bookstore one day on the way home from work and saw this and grabbed it. Now, the only reason I bought this, and you may know from previous videos how big of a 77s fan is because it's got Mike Rowe from the 77s. I bought it for him. And, the guy from the choir, the choir, I can come and take it or leave it. Adam again. All the other bands that were in here that are represented by the other 3 singers, I didn't follow their material. I wasn't a fan of their material. But when it came to the 77s, Mike Rowe was involved. Lost Dogs went on to put out quite a few albums. Very different musical style, very folksy, at times country sounding. It's 4 guys with acoustic guitars and lots of vocals, and it's fairly mellow. But the songs are and quirky. They got some quirky songs on there too. Just funny, tongue-in-cheek songs about indigestion and stuff. This album though is just still one of my favorite. They do like old-timey feeling gospel type numbers at times, country type feels. They've got songs on here about guns, as far as people who have been shot, called Bullet Train. It's just an amazing song. There's just so much on here. It changes from styles to different styles, from kind of a light rock to like I said, kind of country, kind of folksy, and it's just and then you got songs like "Why Is the Devil Red?" That's one of those quirky songs. Why is the devil red? Why ain't the devil blue? It's just kind of quirky stuff about how the Bible doesn't talk about the devil being red, and they just kind of sing it, kind of tongue-in-cheek comedy type stuff. They do that on each album, has something like that. Hard Times Come Again No More, some classic old, favorites from the back of the day. Anyway, great album. I've listened to it all the time. Would love to see this on vinyl. It may be on vinyl. I can't remember if vinyl was still around. I don't think I ever saw it on vinyl. Anyway, Lost Dogs. And if I counted wrong, I'm pretty sure I got 10. If I counted more, then we'll have to cut one. But anyway, that would be it. At this time, that's my AT&T position. At this time, my position for what I would grab. Just don't hold me to it tomorrow. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and rock on.